Hello, beautiful, lightful souls. My name is Tricia Barker, and I'm so excited to be here with David Ditchfield, and we're going to be talking about his afterlife experience after a profoundly dramatic rail accident. And he's lucky to be alive, but even more lucky to have these incredible insights from a place that is rare and beautiful. But thank you, David, for being here with me.
Oh, thank you for inviting me, Tricia. It's great to meet you.
Yeah, so this was 2006, is that correct? When
Right,
4 o'clock in the afternoon, as you just told me, when you had a massive accident. Could you set the scene a little bit and describe what happened for?
yeah, sure. Well, I was seeing off a friend at the time, and she'd been to visit for a few days, and she was returning to London. So I helped her with her bags onto the train, and gave her a hug. Was saying goodbye, and then as I was stepping off, the emergency doors were closing, and the bottom of my coat just got caught in the doors, and I realised I was not able to release that coat, and there was no guard around at all at that point, and there was only one other guy on the platform who was seeing somebody else off, and anyhow, the train eventually, I tried everything. I hit the emergency buttons on either side of the doors, but nothing happened, and the train just started pulling out of the station. I was dragged along the actual platform, and eventually I lost my footing and then went under the train and under the wheels. So that was the actual accident itself, yeah.
And did you black out at that point, or was it
No, I didn't. No, I remained conscious throughout. So it's interesting because the rail police did a massive investigation on the whole thing, and they actually said that the whole thing, they timed it, only took about 7.5 seconds for me from the point of the doors closing and the train pulling off and me going under the wheels. But for me, it felt more like minutes. It felt like it was because I actually remember being quite calm and thinking this through, thinking, right, what am I going to do now? Okay, hit the buttons on the door. No, that's not working. Look around, scream for help. That's not working. And then in the end, I decided just to go with it because I got no other choice. And I'd read this article, which came into my mind a couple of weeks previous about there was a fire in an apartment block, and these guys threw like a baby from the 3rd floor, and it hit the ground but survived without any broken limbs because babies are relaxed. So whereas when we become adults, become rigid. So I decided my best chance is just to relax. So that's what I did. And when I went under the train, that was pretty horrific, to say the least. And I didn't actually think I was going to survive. I remember lying on the track and the train was still going over, and I just thought some undercarriage is just going to whack me and that's going to be it, but it didn't. And the train eventually moved on, and I was just laid on the track, and I remember just rolling over and looking at the sky and thinking, wow, what an incredible, beautiful blue sky. I'm alive. And I couldn't believe it,
It's trauma.
From then I was taken into hospital, and my left arm was severed at that point. So I was losing like copious amounts of blood. And so at that point, I left my body, and I was in immense pain, obviously, at that time. And I remember doctors running around me, trying to save me, and as it were. And I just went from all that sort of craziness to this incredibly beautiful, calm place, and which was the start of my near-death experience. Yeah.
Was it in the hospital, or was it during one of the surgeries that you?
No, I was actually in what we call here the A&E department. It's probably, I don't know if it's the same for you. So it's like literally like the first port of call where they rush you in. They phone through to the hospital, and the ambulance guys say, right, we've got a guy here. They were waiting for me. They thought this is going to be a biggie. He's been under a train.
Right.
So I was straight in there, and they the medics just come around and just do everything they can while you're in there. And
did you have any belief in the afterlife before this experience, or did you believe? Really?
No, not at all. Nothing. I got no real strong feelings about spirituality at all, or well, I didn't really think about, any form of religion, really, to be honest with you, at that point. Yeah. So, I was actually quite not anti the church, but I wasn't comfortable with it. I'd been to church for a few times with my family, with my parents, and I thought, this is not for me. So they said, okay, you stay at home. I just didn't feel comfortable with the idea of it all. So, yeah.
Right, I can identify with that. But that experience, did you feel the first few moments out of your body like it was reality? Like you never questioned this was a dream or hallucination? You knew it, or how did it
Yeah,
feel to you?
I knew instantly, yeah, that it was reality to me. It didn't feel like a dream. I didn't feel like I was hallucinating. Initially, I thought I was actually in like a darkened room, and the first thing I noticed, I was laid like on this kind of like, it's like a slate, almost like a big piece of slate, like a rock, but it felt very comfortable. And then I just looked, and my body was like covered in like this kind of blue cloth, like a sort of a blanket, but it was kind of made of like a silky satin material. But it just felt both cool and warming at the same time. And the very first thing that I saw was this being of light that was just kind of stood at my feet. That was just kind of like gazing at me, and with this kind of like really peaceful expression. And the being was kind of like neither man or woman, androgynous basically, and just stood there. And I just felt all this kind of sense of warmth and comfort coming from this being, and it just filled me with absolute love, And it was like the kind of love that all the types of love you've experienced in your life, whether it's through a lover or from your mother or father or a dog or a kitten or whatever, it's all those feelings of love all encompassed into one. And it was very, very powerful, It's like, it was wonderful, yeah. So that was the first thing that happened. And I remember there was all around me, I started seeing these like pulsating colours, all like sort of like ambers and greens and reds, so just kind of slowly pulsating all around. And I suddenly thought, this isn't a room at all. This is like a much bigger space. And next thing I knew, I kind of realised I got two other beings either side of me, a female form, you might say, and they were just kind of, they got their hands just over my body as I was laying on this rock, and they were just like, the energy coming from these beings was like, I actually felt that it's almost like the vibration was like going right through me. It was just like a really lovely sensation of like, I guess it was like the most powerful healing you could ever hope to have.